Unholy Love. My name is Beatrice, I'm 35 years old, and I've always been a discreet and reserved woman. I worked at a renowned publishing house, and to everyone, I seemed to lead a common and solitary life in my apartment in the city center. However, I always kept a deep secret that I never shared with anyone. It all started after a disastrous date I had on a Friday night. My weeks at the publishing house had been quite exhausting, and the company of loneliness was becoming a real burden in my life. So, I decided to meet someone to start a relationship, and I found dating sites to be a good option, especially for me, as I don't have much time to go out to clubs. That's how I met someone. His name was Mauricio, and he seemed like an interesting man. We had our first meeting just to get to know each other, a quick coffee and a good conversation. It was enough for me to have a good impression of him, so we planned to go out on Friday night. I spent the week thinking about that moment, believing that just as the first meeting was good, the second would be even better. When Friday arrived, I went straight from work to my apartment to get ready for my second date with Mauricio. I was excited because I had a busy and stressful week, and that date was an extra motivation in my day-to-day life. However, 15 minutes before the scheduled time, my phone rang. It was Mauricio letting me know that he couldn't make it to our date because he had to take a relative to the hospital. I was a bit upset but understood, believing he was telling the truth. So, I called a taxi and went back to my apartment. However, while looking at some social media, I saw photos of a club with a special show that night, and among the pictures posted just a few minutes ago, there was Mauricio on a dance floor with friends and some women. That left me furious and at the same time very sad and disappointed. As soon as I arrived at my apartment, I went straight to my room wanting to cry because I had expected to have a very special night in every way. After all, I had been alone for a long time and this relationship was going to change some things in my life, or so I thought. But I didn't let it affect me. I got up from the bed and went to the bathroom to take another long and relaxing bath. When I returned to my room, I put on a sheer nightgown that I had set aside to wear when Mauricio was here with me. Just thinking about him made me angry, but I didn't want to dwell on it. I lay back down on my comfortable and cozy bed. In minutes, I had fallen asleep but was awakened by Boris, my pet golden retriever, doing something I couldn't believe. He was mounting me on my bed. Seeing that seemed crazy to me, but before that I felt something very good and exciting. I had no idea it was Boris giving me that pleasure, which left me confused. But feeling his paws on my breasts, his warmth for touching my skin, seemed to make me even more excited. For a moment, I remained still, not knowing what to do until my body naturally ignited with desire, and I completely gave myself to Boris, getting into position so he could do his work entirely. Yes, it seems crazy, but I was having a new and pleasurable experience in my life. Boris, who used to sleep in the living room, began sleeping in my bed, becoming my intimate companion every night. The next day, Mauricio called me, asking when we could see each other again. I simply sent him the photos of the nightclub where he was. After that, he never called again because he knew there wouldn't be a new date between us. Since childhood, I always loved animals, especially dogs. When I turned 30, I adopted a golden retriever puppy and named him Boris. Now, Boris has become the center of my world. He is more than just a dog to me. He is my confidant, my loyal companion, and my source of comfort in moments of loneliness. As the years passed, the bond between us grew stronger. We do everything together now. Walks in the park, trips, and even movie nights on the couch. I talk to Boris and know he understands every word. And he really does understand me. I keep my relationship with Boris a secret because it is not something easily explained or accepted by society. There is an intimate and emotional connection between us that transcends common understanding. I found in Boris a level of loyalty and unconditional love that I had never experienced with humans. One day, while I was walking Boris in the park, I met an old college friend, Helena. We chatted, and eventually, Helena noticed how attached I was to Boris. Intrigued, she asked some questions, but I just smiled and diverted the subject, keeping my secret well guarded. Sometimes I reflect on my relationship with Boris. I know many would not understand and could even judge me negatively. Still, I felt there was nothing wrong with the deep and sincere love I felt for him. Boris was my family, my husband and lover, my emotional anchor in an often cold and indifferent world. One night, while watching a movie with Boris by my side, I decided that, regardless of what others might think, I would never stop valuing the special bond one had with him. For me, Boris was not just a dog. He was a being with whom I shared a unique and precious connection. I continued to live a discreet life, keeping my secret with care and affection. And in the end, it doesn't matter what others think. What truly matters is the love and happiness I find in my relationship with Boris, a bond one knew to be true and irreplaceable.